And how old was you? Where you at? Where you was from and all that? The streets, everything.
Shit. Oh yeah, shit. Hey, to keep it real, I first got the idea from y'all when we was in Rhode Island. That big old raid when I mean, you know, that's where I got the idea, you feel me? And then when I actually jumped in was when we was in the Haciendas in San Diego. That's where I, you know, on the real. But yeah, I feel you. I'll explain this shit. Feel me?
Wait, how old was you? You said in Rhode Island. How old was you in Rhode Island when you seen all that shit?
Oh shit. That was back in like 95, 96. So I was about 7, 8, 9 maybe. 9 maybe. Yeah.
What happened out there?
7, 8. I give it 7 or 8. 7 or 8. Yeah.
All right, go ahead and start from there. How how that influenced you. Let us know what happened out there, and then go into Cali and then the dope game and shit.
Alright. You record?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Alright. This is how it first started, though. Back in 96, 95, 96, when we was living in Providence, Rhode Island. You feel me? Like we was little niggas, you feel me? Shit, we was growing up and shit, and then, you and Minnow, y'all was selling weed and shit. Y'all was making a gang of money, you feel me? Like a gang of money and shit. Motherfuckers was like, damn, you feel me? And, shit, that's where I got the idea, you feel me? And then I seen we had a big ass raid when we was little and shit, and we seen all the money that the police was taking and shit, and it was like, damn, that's a gang of money and a gang of weed, you feel me? And that's where we got the idea. And then so we grew up in the streets, you feel me? So we grew up hustling and shit anyway. So that was like showing me, that, the dope game, it's money in the dope game, you feel me? And then I got older. We moved back to San Diego. I got older. I was about 14, 2002, when I first started selling my weed. And I started selling my weed in 2002 with my best friend, Jonathan. That was my best friend, you feel me? Like, he really, showed me where to sell it, where the spot was, the weed spot, to sell the weed, and how to, nickel and diamond and all that shit.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
That's all we was. We was nickel and diamond, weed and all that shit. We didn't get into dope just yet. Crack cocaine and all that, we didn't get into that just yet. We was just, penny pushers, curb servers, you feel me? Nickel and diamond hustlers, trying to get us a little shirt or two, you feel me? So we wasn't really making big money, but we was making a little bit, you feel me? 100 here, 200, you feel me? Nothing big. So, I caught my first case serving weed when I was 15. I got a sales to an undercover. That was my first case back in 2003. I caught that. And, shit, I went, I did my little time. I did one day. Mom came and got me, and they put me on home supervision for 6 months. After I got off of home supervision after the 6 months, I went back out there. That's when I went back out there, that's when the homies was like, Jonathan and them, they was like, shit, we started selling crack now. I was like, what's crack? They showed me it was a rock and shit. And they was like, you'll make more money doing this than on the weed block. We ain't doing shit on the weed block. The weed ain't nothing. So I was like, all right, I'll try it out. You feel me? Shit, money is money. So when I started serving rock, I got my first sack. I came to the block, got a double up. I 40'd up. You feel me? I gave them $40. They gave me $80 in rocks. You feel me? A motherfucker, they was fat, so a nigga broke them down, you know, made even more than what I was supposed to. You feel me? I seen it was a lot of money in that shit, and that's when I got cracking. That's when I started selling dope and shit. And that's when I really, really started hanging in the streets with the homies, gangbanging and all that shit. You feel me? And, you know, I got caught, of course, with a possession, but of crystal meth, you know. And I went to jail my second or third time. I went to jail, and I did 150 breaking cycles in Campo for that. I got out and went right back to serving drugs and shit. And while we was out there serving drugs, you know, we got in trouble. We started robbing. We started beating up people, gang banging. You feel me? Like gang fights and all that shit. And 6 months after I got out of Campo for the sales, I caught my first real case that sent me to the pen for 8 years. I caught attempted murder, kidnap, robbery when I was 17, selling dope and shit. And that's what changed my life forever. You feel me? That's what really changed my life forever. On the set, that's when the nigga grew up. I had to grow up because I went to prison young. I was young as fuck. So, you know, motherfuckers took me in, started cradling me and all that. Yeah, and started cradling me and shit. And, you know, showed me how to do this prison shit. And I just grew up in this shit. So I became institutionalized and shit. And I ain't never looked back. I'm 34 now. I'm still up in this bitch. And my life ain't been the same since. Feel me?
So what? How old was you when you started gangbanging?
What?
How old were you when you started gangbanging, and what made you do that? And how did that start?
I really started like claiming crip when I was like 13, at 12, 13. But I actually started really gangbanging like when I was 15. Feel me? When I was 15, I really started gangbanging. But I started claiming crip when I was like 12, 13. Feel me?
Did you have to get jumped in?
Yeah, I had to get put on. Of course. I wasn't, you know, I didn't have a connection to the set. I mean, I did, but I didn't know back then. You feel me? I found out later on that I got cousins from West Coast, my hood and shit. Later on,
I ain't gonna get into it.
Back then, I didn't really have a connection like that. So it was like I was making my own name for myself and shit. So yeah, I had to get put on this shit. Feel me?
How did you? What about that day when you got put on? Tell me about it.
Oh shit! When I got put on, you feel me? I was at the park with the homies. The homies was like, "Hey, Mace, you might as well." They named me, you know, Mace Slow. You feel me? My homies gave me my name and shit. Cause at first we was coming up with shit, all kind of shit. They tried to call me Body Loke and all type of shit. That shit didn't work. So they was like, "Hey, we gonna call you Mace Slow." And I was like, "All right, for sure." And then they was like, "Look, since you hanging out and shit, since you want to be a crip, you might as well get put on." So I was like, at first I was like, "Oh man, I don't know." You feel me? Like,
you scared?
I like hanging out and shit, but I don't know if I really. And then the homies was like, "Man, come on, stop being a punk, nigga. Get put on, nigga. You hanging out, shit, do it." So I was like, "All right, fuck it." So we was in the park, and 3 of the homies put me on and shit. And that was 2004, I believe. 2004. I was 2004.
How many homies put you on?
3 homies. 3 homies. Yeah.
How long it take?
3 homies. Like it was like a minute. Like a minute. It didn't take that long. Like it seemed like a minute. You feel me? Like shit. Niggas got to getting getting on me and shit. I was trying to fight back and shit. You feel me? I trying to do my little thing. You feel me? I was a natural fighter, a street fighter, but
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
back then, 3 niggas on 1 nigga, shit, I wasn't ready for that. So, you know, I was trying to do my thing, but they ended up dropping me and shit. You feel me? Ended up pounding on me, let me up, shook my hand, and I was on. You feel me? So, that's how it started. You feel me? On the set, 2004. Everything. Man.
So
That
what
was
happened?
my life. That's the beginning of my lifestyle, you feel me? Shit, that was the beginning of my lifestyle on everything.
Damn. So the day that you got arrested on your first bid, I know we probably talked about it, but go back onto that day again. On your first prison bid.
What happened?
Why did you get arrested for your first prison bid? We need details about that day and what happened.
Oh, that night, I went to jail. My first prison bid, I went to jail for attempted murder, kidnap, robbery. This what happened. I was at the homie's house, Jonathan's house. We were smoking, chilling, and all that shit. And I was like, I'm hungry. You feel me? Jonathan ain't had nothing to eat. You feel me? He 18. He living in his own spot. We usually go out and eat at a 7-Eleven and shit because, you know, we hang out all night. Shit, we don't come home until 6 o'clock in the morning. But we out in the street, so we eating at a 7-Elevens, liquor stores, whatever's open. You feel me? So that night I was like, man, I'm hungry. Damn, there's no 7-Elevens or nothing around. So I was like, I'm finna go to the house. That's right up the street. So I went up to the house. And Mom was cooking this shit. So Mom got done and shit. I made me a bowl and shit. Ate. I sat and watched TV. Mom went up. She was going upstairs getting ready for work. And she told me, don't go out. Stay inside. So I was like, all right. She said, no, for real, stay inside. Don't go out tonight. I was like, I ain't. Don't trip. Go upstairs. Bam, she went upstairs. Right when she went upstairs, I went right out the front door. Bam. And I went to Jonathan's house. Now, I went to Jonathan's house. Jonathan was asleep. But across the street, I could hear a commotion and shit. So I recognized the voice. So I went across the street. When I went across the street, it was a nigga that I fucked with, Bucci. You know, he had a stick up. So I was like, shit, this my nigga. I'm finna help this nigga out. That's what we did. You feel me? We helped each other out.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
All right,
So I was like,
pause
I'm
right
finna
there.
help my nigga. All right, I'm finna call you back right
Yeah,
now.
go ahead. So you saw Boosie robbing somebody.
So when I went across the street, you feel me? I seen the homie, he was doing his thing. So I was like, man, I'm finna help the homie, you feel me? So he acted like he had a gun to the dude's head. And, you know, so I pulled out, I had a little pocket knife. So I pulled it out. And I was like, I jumped in. I was like, he had a bitch and a nigga. We was on the nigga. The bitch was just a smoker prostitute. So we told the bitch, get on. Feel me? So we was on the dude. So we was like, what's up, nigga? Like, empty your pockets. He was like, I ain't got no money on me. Woo-de-woo. I can take y'all to the ATM. So we was like, all right, for sure. Let's go. And I was like, where your car at? He was like, right there. Woo-de-woo. He had a gray Z with T-top. He was like, look, y'all can take my car. Woo-de-woo. I was like, what is this? Automatic or stick shift? He was like, it's stick shift. I said, I don't know how to drive stick shift, so I don't want that. I want the money. So the homie was like, nah, let's take the car. I was like, nigga, why? So you can drive it? Nigga, I want some too. You feel me? So he was like, all right, fuck it. So I was like, all right, get in the car. You feel me? Unlock the doors, get in the car. So he got in the driver's seat. I told the homie, get in the back. I told Bucci to get in the back. And I sat in the passenger seat with the knife to his neck. So we drove. That's where the kidnapping kicked in because we did that. Man, I didn't know at the time. That's where the kidnapping kicked in, though, because we forced them into a vehicle and moved them like 3 feet. However far we moved them, that became a kidnapping. So when we got to our destination, right up the street, we parked, and then I told him to get out. Bam, he got out, I got out, and then Bucci got out. And then I was like, all right, let's go. So we was walking, and then homeboy stopped. And then he said, fuck that, I'm not doing it. I'm not giving y'all my money. So I was like, what? What you say? He said, I'm not giving y'all my money. So I was like, man, this nigga, fuck this nigga. He probably ain't got no money anyway. I said, let's go. And then I turned around and I started walking. I started walking away back to Jonathan's house. And then I hear a scuffle, like foot scuffles in the back. So I look and I turn around and I see Bucci and the grown ass white dude. They scuffling. They fighting and shit. So I'm like, damn, this is my nigga. I gotta go help.
Wait,
so
how old
I
is
turn back
Bucci?
and I
I'm
run
sorry.
to him. And then I pull out my knife again. And then we just get on him. We start jumping him. Bam. And then dude is fighting back. And then I hit him. Bam. And then while he falling, he grabbed Bucci and take him down with him. So he pinned Bucci down. So I'm like, man, get up, nigga, get up. He's like, I can't. So that's when I started stabbing him. Bam, bam. I started stabbing him. And then homeboy yelling now. He causing their attention. He yelling. So I'm like, man, get up, nigga, get up. He's like, I can't. He got me. I can't. And then I'm like, I'm still stabbing him. And now I'm kicking him. I'm kicking him in the face. He's not getting off of him. He's like under the influence of crack cocaine. So he's like a superhero. This nigga won't get up off this nigga. So I'm like, damn, nigga. And then now a security guard that was patrolling the area, and he come out of nowhere. And then he came to the dude's rescue. He pulled out his pepper spray and started spraying. So when he started spraying, I back off, bam. And then when he stopped spraying, I chased the security guard off, bam. So while I'm doing that, we doing that back and forth, you feel me? I'm chasing him, and then he turn around and pull out start spraying again. And I'm chasing him when he stopped, and he pull out the spray. Now the police, they drove down the street, and then they see the commotion, and they stop right there, bam, and they back up. And when they do that, I'm like, damn, the police is coming, nigga. He's like, now he's screaming my name. Come on, man, come on, help me. I'm like, man, stop saying my name, nigga. Stop saying my name. I'm like, man, I can't help you. The police is coming. So I throw the knife, and I start running. And when I run, I get away. You feel me? So I make it to Jonathan.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I make it to Jonathan's house. And when I get to Jonathan's house, I wake him up. I'm like, hey, man, I just did something fucked up. I just stabbed somebody, woo-de-woo. The police got Bucci. I think he might tell on me. And Jonathan's like, nah, man, just take the bike and go home. Stay in your house. Don't, leave. And I was like, all right. So I grabbed the bike and I ride the bike to the house. And then I make it to the house. So it's like, nah, man, just take the bike and go home. Stay in your house. Don't, leave. And I was like, all right. So I grabbed the bike and I ride the bike to the house. And then I make it to the house. So I take off all the clothes and shit, and I throw it in the corner. And I lay on the couch. And I'm like, I'm up all night because I'm paranoid. I'm nervous now. I'm like, oh, man, they might come. You might tell on me. Shit, I might go to jail this time, woo-de-woo. So, and then I was like, fuck. But I was like, nah, because we did this many a times and ain't nobody told on it. So I kind of calmed myself down. And then it was like 4 in the morning and mom come downstairs and she seen me on the couch. So she never know that I left. She never know that I left because she woke up and seen me right there, right in the same spot. And she go to work. And I finally go to, she go to work and I'm up. And then and then that's when you and a Rock, y'all get up, and then y'all ask me if I want to smoke. So I'm like, yeah, I'll smoke. Bam. So we go to Rock's house, and we smoking, and that's when I was like, hey man, shit, I did something. I think Bucci got caught, and that's when y'all said, you think Cuz gonna tell? And I said, nah, I don't think so, because we did this plenty of time. And then I was like, nah. And then y'all was like, nah, I think he might tell. And I was like, nah, I don't think so. So after we done smoking, I go back to the house. Now I'm tired because I've been up all night, nervous as fuck. The weed done calm me down. So now I'm tired. So I go to the house and I fall asleep on the couch. I think I fall asleep for a couple of hours before I hear somebody pounding on my door. Boom, 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 boom. So I wake up, I'm like, who is it? And I hear DEA. So I'm like, man, quit playing, man. I'm thinking it's the homies. They say it's the DEA. I'm like, man, quit playing, man. So I go to the window and I see white people out there. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? So I go and I open up the door. I'm like, what's up? They asked me questions. Were you with Norman Eugene Klug at this house? I was like, who is Norman Eugene Klug? They was like, well, you only saw Bucci. He lived right up stairs. I was like, nah, I wasn't with him, woo. But I know who he is. That's my homie. Nah, I wasn't with him. He said, well, we have information that you was with him the night he attempted to rob whatever his name is. It's something golden. And I was like, nah, I wasn't with him. So they was like, all right, what? So they searched it downstairs because I was downstairs. So they searched downstairs and they went past.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
If they would have picked up my clothes, I would have went to jail that minute. They went past the clothes. And mom she come home. So they asked my mom. I was like, man, my mom seen me. I was on the couch. Woo. And they was like, man, when you went to work this morning, did you see your son laying on the couch? She was like, yeah. I told him don't go. I seen him. I went upstairs. He was right there. When I came down for work, he was right here. So she actually wasn't lying, but she didn't know what I did in them couple of hours. So they was like, all right. So they made me stand by the door. They took my picture and they left. And then when they left, I called Jonathan. And I was like, hey, man, Bucci, tell it. Bucci, woo. I'm not knowing the phone is, like, tapped that fast. So I'm like, he's telling, you need to come get me. I need to get up out of here. And Cuz come over, he come get me. And then we go to his house. But before we go to his house, we stop at 7-Eleven. They trailing us. I don't know they trailing us. So we go to 7-Eleven. We get a swisher. We go to Jonathan's house, and we start rolling it up. Like, when we rolling up the blunt, Bucci family, they come down to Jonathan's house, and they knock on the door. So when we open up the door and see it's them, we like, man, fuck y'all, woo, what y'all doing there, woo. So we on it. We disrespectful as a mug. We like, man, y'all snitch ass up, woo. And they was like, man, we just here to come get the car, woo. He said y'all showed the car from him, took the car. We was like, man, that nigga took y'all car. He came over here thinking he was cool and shit, woo. And they was like, oh, well, whatever, you getting our son in trouble. I was like, man, I was helping that bitch ass nigga out, woo. So now, they dad is like trying to like stop him. Now we finna jump. Me and Jonathan finna jump they dad. And then right when we start squaring off with them, the two white people that came to the house, the two DEA people, they pop out. So it was like, damn, y'all set us up, woo. So they come out with their guns drawn, freeze. So we put our hands up and shit. And they come down, they put us in handcuffs and shit and whatnot. And they was like, y'all lied to us, you lied to us, I was like, man, I ain't lied to you, woo. And they was like, yeah, because you was with him. The victim said you was with him, woo. Y'all going to jail. Jonathan was like, man, what did I do? What did woo? And they was like, you took the car and you was driving the car. I was like, man, he wasn't even with us. He wasn't even nowhere with us. So he had nothing to do with it. If I would have let him went to jail, bro, that nigga still would have been alive today. You feel me? And but I let him go. You feel me? They asked his people, and they was like, yeah, he had nothing to do with it. It was him. So they let Jonathan go. You feel me? And they took me to jail. And I was facing life and shit. And you know, so I was going through it a little bit in the beginning. And but I banned up. I was like, man, fuck this, wooty woo. And then I started acting up. I started acting a fool and shit. But I always think about that day. If I would have let him go to jail that day with me, if I would have been a piece of shit homeboy and let him go to jail with me, he still would have been alive today. You feel
Just
me?
like if you did.
Norman Eugene Clue. His name is Bucci. He go by Crunching Out. That nigga's Norman Eugene Clue.
Rest in peace to Jonathan. That was yeah.